another week of Saints Talk. I'm your host, Kevin Washington, with the man behind NewOrleans.Football himself, Nick Underhill. Nick, what's up, man? What's the deal? Let's pod.
Every time, like, we start out the pod like this every time, and I'm just like, I'm never prepared to answer the what's up. Like, at some point, maybe year two, we'll get that down. But yeah, the cap stuff's moving. Team, you know, that they're starting to make some moves, kind of starting to see what they're gonna do, how they're gonna shape up the season. So you know, the big move today, tagging Marcus Williams, I think, kind of came out of left field, and it was kind of like a double middle finger to Cap Twitter, which was,
man, they lost their minds, bro. Hey, man, look. So let's just get into it. Did that move shock you? Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was surprised. I wouldn't say it shocked me, because I kind of knew since before last season that Marcus Williams was kind of viewed as a priority. And I think that sense only got stronger for them throughout last year. He had the best season of his career, only missed 2 tackles, covered really well, tackled really well, kind of became a little bit more multifaceted in the way he played. You know, I think we're starting to see him peak, and I think he can continue to get even better than he was. But yeah, I mean, obviously with how tight they are to the cap, you know, I never really considered the franchise tag being an option for them. And you know, here it is, and
I was like, what? So I got the little notification popped up on my phone. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like reaction is like, okay, see something pop up, either I'm on Twitter or I see it and I jump on Twitter, and then it's either like hit you up or not hit you up, depending on like how busy you are with it. And I saw it, I'm like, whoa, like it kind of like caught me a little bit like out of left field. And you know, tell me how you feel about this, because I could be wrong, which is fine. Happens like, you know, twice a year. My wife disagrees. But if they can somehow, you know, get the cap to where it's doable to have him, and I'm not saying he's going to play under the franchise tag. He's probably going to get an extension, is my guess. My guess is this: they didn't want him. This was just protection to stop him from hitting the market. But you know, if they somehow can have him play under the cap this year financially, it's kind of better for him, right? Like, because I mean, say even if he signs his, you know, he's going to play his cap hit is like $4 million or whatever. It's going to be something lower, but in the grand scheme of things, like when you look over the long term, you know, him playing for $10 $10 million is actually kind of I won't say discount, but it'll be less than what his average per year would be, the average, you know, the APY value of his contract if he signed the long-term deal. So I guess, you know, long story short, it made sense for them to sign him. I mean, to franchise tag him, knowing that, you know, if he has to play under this number, it's less than what his contract will be.
In theory, yeah, you know, in the broad scheme, sure. Practically speaking, for this season, I don't know if I agree with that, because I think if you keep him at that number, then that's when you lose Emmanuel Sanders or somebody like that. So I think that there's a cost exceeding money this year just because of the way things are lined up. So I do think that if you got him lower, it allows you to maybe keep one of these other guys. It's one less cut you have to make, and your team just remains, you know, just a little bit stronger throughout. But yeah, I mean, your thought there, I don't think is wrong. I just think, like, given the circumstances of this year, that maybe that calculation is a little bit different than it typically would be. But yeah, when he signs, I think it's going to exceed probably that $10.5 million. You know, and that's going to keep going up, especially, you know, if Simmons and May end up signing, you know, that pushes his number up. And now, you know, I think Marcus has gathered more leverage than maybe he had before,
big time,
because it's not just creating a hole. Now it's, you know, well, if you don't sign me, you're losing Emmanuel Sanders too, or, you know, whoever. I'm using Emmanuel Sanders as an example. I don't know that he would be the next guy out, but yeah, but you know, I think this move is it's illustrative of many things. First, it's very illustrative that the conversation surrounding this team and how they were going to manage their cap and all that stuff, what they're looking at internally is much different than what all these people on the internet are talking about. And, you know, at some point, like, is a football, I've told this story before. Like, when I first came here, very first press conference, West Virginia, Mickey Loomis talks. Very first question I ever asked him was just about his cap management. And, when you're looking at it from afar, it's different than how everybody else does it. And
well, not no more, because everyone's doing the void years now.
Right.
It's like cool now.
But even still though, like a lot of people don't understand what they're doing. They see the numbers, they see it's over. What are you going to do? Oh my God, panic. You're going to lose all these players. Do you want to change it? How do you get it more in control? And when I first came here, you're looking at it and you're like, it's the same thing. So I understand why a lot of people see it that way, but 7 years of the same conversation, you think that at some point, like somebody beyond these borders, of people that just watch this team, people that watch all 32, you think somebody would do a think piece like they write about Game of Thrones episodes or something and would just sit down and think about it and be like, hey, wait a minute. There's a way to look at the cap as if it's a problem that can be solved and it's not this constrictive thing. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it different. They've been doing it for 7 years. And, it's just,
I get it.
It's an annoying conversation.
It should be dead by now. Like that line of thinking about the Saints cap, like it should be dead by now because it's never affected them. I think Albert Breer tweeted something today saying basically like Mickey Loomis is the cap king, right? And it's like just conceded. Like it's the artificial. It's not artificial, but it's you can manipulate it in ways to where it doesn't mean nothing, right? And I remember someone tweeted last week that managing the cap, a good cap manager doesn't mean that you can spread money to years. Anyone can do that. A good cap managing the cap well means you don't have to do that. And I'm like, well, I ain't never seen no one win a Super Bowl trophy from managing the cap well. I ain't never seen
I've been broke and I've had money at different points in my life. And balancing my checkbook was much easier when I had money. When I was broke, you're cutting corners, you're figuring out how to do it. How am I paying my lights to keep the water on?
Getting creative with stuff.
Back
who needs water? I mean, water is like, we've all been there, right? Like, who needs it? You need electricity, water, food. Like, you got to pick one, man.
Yeah, like some people talk like they don't know how to season ramen noodles beyond like the basic little packet. If you don't know how to do that, I don't want to hear your money management. Because I'm just saying though, but honestly, like, when you're trying to, it's a lot to figure out. So I think it's a lot harder to. I don't know. I've never balanced a salary cap, but when I've had to worry about how I'm paying my bills, and you're coming up with strategies, it's a much harder way to live. But if you're comfortable with doing it, you can do it. And it's just I don't get why we're acting like the python going around their neck is this is by their own doing. No, like there weren't fans in the stadiums, guys. Like this is why this is happening. It'd still be tight, but
I tweeted something out and I said that here's the teams, 17, some arbitrary number. I just start scrolling. I found the cap number for the teams, the top 17 teams. I think 4 of them made the playoffs. 4, right? So you got Jaguars with $73 million in cap space. Like, what does it mean, right? So, like, the teams who are winning have talent, which means they have players who they pay, which means they have less cap. The Saints are known across the league as one of the most talented NFL teams, period. Right? They may be the most talented, right? Outside of quarterback, obviously. What do you expect? Do you think they're going to like? I mean, look at the talent across the board. Cornerbacks, DBs, linebackers. They have like Pro Bowl type players at every level of their defense. Same thing for offense. Skilled players on offense, quarterback. They're not going to have a bunch of cap space. It's just not meant to work like that, right? And they drafted well also. So. Yeah, look at the Jaguars. They got a bunch of credit. Yeah, let's go through their picks over the last few years, right? So this whole cap conversation, it needs some context to it, right? It's not just and listen, the Saints say, and to be honest with you, like, look, they haven't had like a bunch of bad contracts. They just have a bunch of good players on contracts. Like I was talking to someone out the other day on Twitter, and I was like, "What's the last bad contract they gave out?" I mean, you can maybe look at Pete that way. I don't know. He's still on the team, though. Kobe Fleener would probably be the one I would highlight, but they're not giving out bad contracts. they have a bunch of good players who make money, and they have to figure out a way to keep those players. And I'd say this, and just to finish off my little rant, I'd rather be in the Saints situation, and we're talking cap/talent. I'd rather be in the Saints situation than the Jaguars. Okay, because man, it's hard when you don't have talent. All right, it's harder to draft well than it is to and have a team full of talent than it is to, hey, I got all this cap space. And so it's just a flawed argument, man.
You're right.
I just quit listening to people when they talk about it because I can do a whole pod about this. So
I mean, it definitely sucks they had to cut Nick Easton to be able to find a way to keep Marcus Williams on the team. Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly
Nick, right?
I'm constantly frustrated by it too, and I hate how irritated I am by the conversation all the time. But it's just there's never like a meeting point in the middle of let's talk about their strategy honestly and evaluate it and compare it to the way other teams do it and their success and their failures. And look, this year, some of those bad deals are going to come. And, one of the things I think they've done well through the strategy is they've connected these bags of money to people that are going to be on the team. Drew's one where kind of a little bomb goes off. They've managed it a little, 10 million, 11 million, 11 million. But I do think that the amount of money they're pushing is going to grow larger, which is a negative. You don't want to have to do that, but you have to do it. And I think in some cases, when Cam Jordan's going to be 30 million against the cap at the age of 33, that's not a situation you want to be in. Yeah. But look, these are the bombs that are going to go off. You have to keep it together. Hopefully the quarterback's cheap and you can kind of do it. I'm going to workshop an idea here. And I don't know if I should do this in public or not, but I've been thinking about it all day and
I'm scared.
I do have one, and you can tell me if this is crazy or not, but I've been thinking about this all day. I've been thinking about this all day.
I picked the agenda, not you, for these pods. So I'm feeling really exposed right now.
So one thing I've been thinking about, and I don't know if this is a huge reach or not, but so say you sign a player today to an extension, low first year number, you kick the can down, numbers go up in the back end, like how Alvin's deal is. It's like a step-by-step thing. So you're signing him at 2020 levels, commiserate with the cap, the market, all those things. It's $15 million, but the number's real low in the first year. You push it ahead, the cap inflates, the positional value goes up. You're kicking the can. Are you basically, you're signing a player at one price, and as it inflates and you push that money ahead, the value is lower. You know what I'm saying? So you're signing a player at a lower asset. There's inflation. So the value of the player, the cap goes up. His value stays down. That goes up. So it's like the dollar per dollar assessment is almost cheaper.
As the contract scales, so does the cap.
Right.
Yeah.
So the percentage of the cap,
it goes that player, if he was a certain percentage of your cap, when his number goes up, that percentage may be the same because the cap is going up too. Right. It's not like the cap is 185 every year and this guy's going to be 5 million, 10 million next 15. And the thing about it is Jerry Jones just did the same thing with Dak Prescott and got praised for it.
The Saints used to get ripped for the void years. And like you pointed out today, everybody's using void years now. And they weren't the first team to do that, obviously, but they were the first team maybe to use it as a heavy cap management strategy. And now everybody's doing it. And, they got killed for it back then. Kai Harley, the other thing he did that I don't think anybody's ever properly appreciated is that he created de-escalators in contracts where most people have performance escalators. They were giving guys okay, you want to make $20 million? Well, if you don't hit these metrics, your salary's going down. And they created de-escalate. They've done things to the cap that is just nobody else is doing. And it's just.
What's the goal? What's the goal? The goal is to win a Super Bowl, to be competitive every year. And the Saints have won more games, I think, in the last 4 years than maybe any other team in the NFL. What are we talking about here? It's not like
if a bill comes due, great. Who cares? You're remaining competitive. You have these this amazing draft that builds a core, and you're just supposed to blow it up and not manipulate it and keep that together when you have proof positive that you can. I don't mean to disrespect anybody here, but you have proof positive that you can throw an average level quarterback in there and win a significant amount of games because of this core.
This talent that you have around these guys.
You're just supposed to blow that up. Like when you can manipulate the cap. Now, if you had a hopeless situation, take the bill. But until there's, if it's 2015 and your team does not look like it's going to be good, take the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Take the bill. You screwed up. You built your team wrong. Start over. That's when you start over. But why would you start over now? Like, why? I don't understand the thought process of like they're so irresponsible. The irresponsible thing would be to blow this extended window that you have. Like, what if Jameis is actually good?
And you can put him in there. Now he's gone because, I mean, look, like I said, it doesn't make like the goal. Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton is going to say, man, look at our wins over the last 4 years. I think that's like the end of the conversation. Like literally, there's nothing else to talk about, right? You're winning more than anyone. 13, whatever they won this year, whatever they won to 11. It's like, come on, man. What are we talking about here? So, we're narrative busting right now, but yeah, man, I don't know. It kind of sucks that we have to right this wrong. Right, I don't want to say right the wrong, but like come out here and like write this talking point, right? Because the goal is to win these games, and they're winning these games. And so I don't know, man. That's really all I got with that. That's really all I got with it, man. I mean, I don't know. I saw a question about markers, and I kind of like was scrolling to find the question. I just found it. And you said, do you think they Clarence Lodge III said, do you think they use obviously the franchise tag because they were far apart?
I think they used the franchise tag because they wanted to stop them from hitting the market. I mean, if they could have closed the deal, they would have closed it. I mean, any amount apart at this point at the deadline is far apart. Even if
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, even if
today was the last day. Yeah.
Yeah, even if you're haggling over a parking spot or something, you know what I mean? Like you have to stop them from hitting the market if you don't want to take that risk. So
Marcus was going to they would not going to be able to keep Marcus if he hit the open market, and they knew that. I don't know how true it is, but I kept reading that the Jaguars were interested in him, and
yeah, after the other two guys got tagged, like now he's number one.
Yeah, Marcus May and Justin Simmons. That's a good point too. The other safeties, that's a good point because he becomes maybe safety number one or number two, depending on who's the team and how they feel about it and their needs. And a player like that, man, the Saints were not going to be able to compete in the open market with him. Like they just were not. And so, like you said, if a team like the Jaguars come screaming $73 million in cap room, like what are you going to do? If you're Marcus Williams, you're going to go to Florida and play football. So, yeah, I look I know from the start, we've been saying like, this is like kind of their number one guy they need to re-sign this year. We had a conversation about if they should re-sign him or Trey Hendrickson. And I think we both like instantly were like, I don't think we even thought twice about it. And, it's looking pretty good now because it seems like Trey is probably going to hit the open market. Well, if not probably. I mean, they could come up with a contract with him before it starts, but I don't think that's likely. So, yeah, we kind of
I'm seeing a couple comments in here, like just about past playoff performances and not reaching it. Like, that's not a reason to start. Like, if you blow it up, you're further away. Like,
I mean,
I don't like just because you didn't win the game, you didn't get past Tampa Bay this year. I don't think that's a reason to blow it. And I would say the Tampa Bay game is that I feel like there's reasons for encouragement there. Like, they could have won that game, but I don't think because you fell short, you made the playoffs and you fell short that you blow it up and say, let's rebuild and do something. No, like you just try to find the missing pieces to what you're doing. And I agree that they've fallen short for various reasons. Some of their, own reasons.
I mean, they got one taken away from them. You were in the Super Bowl and then they, I mean, it's hard to win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl this year with like the most ridiculous quarterback, the most explosive offense. Green Bay hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2011, and they got Aaron Rodgers. They haven't even been to a Super Bowl since then. Rodgers has been to one Super Bowl. One. Phillip Rivers never made it to the Super Bowl, right? So it's not like being a good team doesn't guarantee it, man. It just takes one bad playoff game, one injury, one referee. It's one missed tackle from a safety, one tight end pushing off. Like, these games are going to be close, and if things don't go your way, but that doesn't mean that they've mismanaged their team this past year. I think it's the exact opposite. I think
they won 12 games. Their quarterback had a busted foot, 11 broken ribs, one bad lung, bad shoulder. They had a Taysom at quarterback for a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Mike Thomas was hurt the whole season.
All year.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much, and they won 12 games. Like, this is a really good team. I don't find the logic of like, well, Tampa got it. It's over. Blow it up. This doesn't make sense. Like, rebuilding doesn't make sense when you have good players. But anyways, anyways. All
right, we're moving on to another topic. You guys get the point. So, Ramczyk and Lattimore. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one. If it feels like one of those two may be the next extension. Maybe it's Marcus. I don't know. But Marcus is, he's taken care of, at least for the time being. If you had to guess, which one of those guys do you think is going to be the first to sign an extension, if one of them does?
It's between Williams and Ramczyk?
Between Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk.
I think Ramczyk's probably going to be the easier one to sign.
Okay.
I got reasons to think that one will probably come first. I think Marshawn might be a little bit of a more difficult negotiation just because it's more money. At a position. I think Ramczyk's a safer sign. So I think it's just.
So you think Ramczyk is going to make less than Marshawn?
No. I mean, it's just the way that situation. Like, there's probably a bigger difference in the opinion of a value. There's more room for the two sides to have different opinions.
I
think the gap between the two is probably more money. I think it's probably a little bit easier to reach a consensus opinion on Ramczyk than Lattimore.
Yeah, I get it. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because Marshawn.
I said that very poorly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Saints think Marshawn is Tre'Davious White. Marshawn thinks he's Jalen Ramsey or Marlon Humphreys, or
Yeah, and I think. I think Ramczyk's just. Yeah, that's who he is.
Do you think Ramczyk contract beats Laramie Tunsil's?
It should. I mean, it's just the way the league goes.
Tunsil went $3 million above. He went $3 million above the last guy. That contract is let me stop because I need to quit. I need to leave that contract alone.
Here's the problem with this year, though, is that it's not a traditional year. The cap doesn't continue to go up. Everybody is topping, though. You've seen Dak just take it to the max, and so I think it's a hard year, though. Like, if you do percentages of the cap, there's different ways to look at it. It's going to be interesting to just see league wide these new deals. Like, is everybody resetting the market? Or people getting chipped a little bit? Where's the money getting set? It's going to be tough. But look, if you're Ramczyk, you're Lattimore, you start at the top. Like, these are guys that are kind of talked about in those discussions of being top 4 or 5 at their position, and that's just how it goes. Dak just exceeded everybody else, and he's not.
He's not number 5. Right. Yeah, he's not. I don't even think he's top 5. Just to be honest with you,
he might be like top 5 guys you'd like to have, just given
Mahomes,
age,
Rodgers,
but talent wise, no.
I take Josh Allen and maybe the kid from San Diego over him.
Look, he earned it though. He bet on himself. He took it all away.
No question.
Yes,
no question.
He played the system. He beat the system. Traditionally, you're supposed to take the money early. Like, get your security cash in, do the team a favor, give a little bet.
Dak just took it all away. Tag, got hurt and still got the bag. Like, yeah, he played that, and he deserves it. And you know what? He was a 4th round pick. Like, come on, man. So he's thinking like, yo, been doing this for a while, need to start cashing in, right? I mean, one major injury, you see how it can go away. But yeah, I want to.
What was his bonus? $66 million. Just imagine 66 like that direct deposit hits. My God. How do you even pay somebody 60? Is that just like a wire transfer? Do you have to have a special bank?
Let me tell you something, Nick. You my dog. You my brother. We talk every day. If I get 66 million, you might have to find my new number. You really might be looking for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, who this?
Absolutely, man.
Yo, listen, you can't just call me, man. I got 66 M's in the bank. Like, you call my secretary before you call me, bro. Don't call me. I won't even hold my phone to my ear. Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. 66 million, man. I wish I was tall and had a big arm. That just, that'd be anyway. All right, so but I just was thinking about being rich there. Kind of got lost. Back to life. But yeah, I don't know, man. When I see, I really wonder if Ramczyk is going to come at the top of the market. I feel like that Laramie Tunsil contract, like, I just don't know if you can. I don't know, man. That contract's just ridiculous. And if I'm like, yo, man, look, we can get you like a mil or two under there, but you can't. It's just like that number is just so bad. It's just so bad. And I just really want to see. I mean, I know Trent Williams is a free agent, so maybe Ramczyk is just waiting on him because that contract is going to be interesting because, he's still a good player, but he's a little older, obviously. So I don't know, man. I want to see how that contract is going to affect everything else. But there's for some reason, I think Lattimore may get signed first. I have no idea why. Like, I literally have no idea why, but I think I could maybe see that being the case. But we'll see. And do you know if the franchise tag is higher for offensive tackles or cornerbacks?
I said the average of the top 5. So they haven't set those yet, but yeah,
I probably messed that up then.
Also
wrecked that.
I mean, they're probably very close. I would bet the positions, both of them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there could be a breakthrough on negotiations, but I tend to think that the Ramczyk one's probably a little bit closer. But look, anything can happen. You can have the next conversation could be the one that gets the ball rolling, and it just goes all the way through, and then it's done. But I do think that they want to keep both those guys. And I think it's probably important to them to try to keep both. And now they got 3. And really that's going to be the thing that determines how this kind of plays out. You can get the 15 under the cap, only cut 2 guys. But then, you'd have to do things and get aggressive, like, restructure Taysom, which you probably don't want to do. And theoretically you can get there. Trom would need a contract extension. That's something that I think probably happens. I don't know if they're going to do
it makes sense to maybe extend him, maybe like a 3-year contract extension or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that comes at some point. It just makes logical sense. But the ability to do these 3 deals, get them done, and don't have them playing on these options and tags is key to really the approach the rest of the way and what they're going to have to do. So that's
yeah, Teron is like, I don't know why I was thinking Teron was like 31. He's 29.
No, he's 29.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been healthier the last couple of years.
Yeah, too, so you took it out of my mind. I would be comfortable extending him, actually. I mean, in offensive tackles tend to play longer. Yeah, and even if that guy like he's shown you that he can be less of an athlete and less healthy and unable to move and still shut guys down. So I think that's someone you feel comfortable with. I just looked at the franchise tag numbers. So I didn't know that they put O-line all together. It's all one group. So guards actually bring down the tackles. So the number for O-line is 14.5 and cornerback is 15.2. So
it's the same thing.
Basically. Yeah. Because that's just I didn't know that I thought O-line would have been higher than 14.7 14.5 with that ridiculously $22 million Laramie Tunsil contract that I'm going to stop talking about. All right, so let's play a little game here. Have a little fun, and it's kind of just like what do you think is going to happen? Bingo kind of thing. Whatever some of the players. So, do we think certain guys are going to be restructured or extended? And do you think certain guys are going to be on the team the upcoming season? So, I don't got to answer none of these, but the ones that are easy, I may chip in, but otherwise it's on you. So, all right. So I'm gonna start with a restructure. Do you think that they restructure Taysom Hill's contract? Do you think that's something that they do? If you have to like say, and these are yes or no, you can't like play.
I'm not doing that.
Come on, man. That's what we do. That's my job.
I think it's dependent really on what happens with these other 3. I think you'd probably rather let him kind of go through, but the number's high. So, and you are kind of leveraged right now with these other deals. So I would say, yeah, I think it's probably something that, I mean, it's a guess, and I think it's probably kind of like a 50-50 shot, but I would say, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of feel like it's going to happen. I kind of feel like it's, especially if like they decide that they want to keep like Emmanuel Sanders and they can't get like maybe Marcus Ryan or Marshawn extended, then, that's one of those contracts that they probably got to do something with. So that one makes sense. Do you think they're going to restructure Andrews Pete? Hope not.
I think yeah. I think they will. There's money there. You can push it out. It's obvious. I mean, it's an obvious move that they can make, and I think you want to create some flexibility in free agency. I don't think that they're going to be able to go out and sign big time dudes, but that, there's going to be other Josh Hills out there, and those $3 million players become $1 million players, just given the way that the nature of the cap is going to constrict a lot of people, and it's going to create some opportunity. So you can kind of just swim around the bottom of the aquarium and pick up some pieces, and some of those pieces are going to be good. Like, they wouldn't be down there normally. So I think there is some opportunity there. I do think that the middle of their roster is going to be way weaker than it's been in the past. I think one of the hallmarks of this team is that they've had really good backups, and that's probably not going to be the case in a lot of places, but you can at least bring in some, supporting things. So it would, if you can create some money, if it, it keeps you. Look, the other thing, we kind of talk about them in the sense of like, oh, like they can't cut this guy because it's going to be dead money. I think one of the things the Saints do a little bit differently is that, in some cases, you don't, that will dictate a decision because you have to do the cost analysis. We cut this guy, how much does it cost to replace him? Does it make sense? But I think them as a whole, they kind of look at the cap as an entire piece. I don't think it's so much necessarily like, we can't cut him, it's dead money. It's just, all right, we can cut him. We need this money. We'll replace. So like, if it came to a point where they wanted to make a move, I think that would still just happen. Like, they look at it differently. They have the flexibility to look at it differently. They have an owner that has empowered people just to do what they do.
Yeah.
They aren't caught up. I think if with a weaker ownership structure, some of the stuff they do, like it would be driven by narrative. You'd have, an owner in there. What are you doing? All these people are saying the cap's dumb. No, I'm not spending all this money out of my pocket to pay these signing bonuses. What are you doing? This is reckless. Everybody says it's reckless. Fix it. Like, that isn't how it is. Like, they're trusted. They do their jobs. They win games.
And they winning games. There you go.
The owner finances these moves. Like, that's the thing. Like Gail Benson's like literally paying like the money. Yeah, the money gets paid out anyhow, but like having to have all these millions of dollars up front to pay these signing bonuses when they restructure. Yeah. It's a luxury. And it's not like she's paying it and like, what are you doing? It's just, we need this money and she pays it because that's what the team needs to do to succeed. And that's an enviable situation.
Yeah. No, I agree there. It definitely feels like they don't have any like thing holding them back for doing what they need to do to be successful. And I think that's why you see the stability that you've seen with this team and the coaching staff and the GM because of like the ownership, right? Like Peyton, he speaks about it now, and it's crazy. If you've seen him like grow as a coach over the years and get more experience, he talks about like how important ownership is because it's easy to just look across the NFL. Like you look at some of these teams flipping coaches every other year, and it's like, man, the GM is just looking for that one guy and they're going to fire you until they find the one, and the owner may be tripping or something, right? You don't have the owner doing press conferences before the head coach, and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely think that's a big part of what's allowed them to be successful. How about this one? Do you think they're going to we just spoke about this one, so we don't have to spend a long time on this one. You think they're going to extend or restructure Teron Armstead? Yeah, I think that's one that they absolutely should do. Malcolm Jenkins, what about that contract? I'll start on this one. I think that's one they maybe should leave alone just because he's a little older player and you don't want to like push the money. You don't want to force him on the roster or force dead money with him if you can do it with some younger guys. But that would just be my take on it from the outside looking in. But yeah, what do you think about them doing something with his contract?
Same. I'd leave it alone unless like you absolutely need the money.
Yeah. All right. Latavius Murray. You think he will be on the team this year? So these are guys like, do you think they may the rest of the guys are like, do you think they're going to be on the team? Like maybe they'll get cut or not re-signed or something like that. So let's start with Latavius Murray, running back for the Saints.
That one's tough. I think they'd really like to keep him. The number, it's that middle class, that backup situation. I don't know, man. It's a tough one to call. I think that's one of the ones where you can kind of see it both ways, and it's hard to figure out. So I'm going to guess yes. It could even be a situation where maybe he's on the team and then he isn't, and then he's back. But I think they really like their running back room. I would be surprised if, they got rid of him and brought in a different older player, but he is bordering on, that luxury line just a little bit to where, money could dictate a decision there, but I think they would rather avoid it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I
don't think Mark Ingram's going to take his place. I could be wrong, but that's not something I foresee.
I don't think it'll happen. If they get rid of Murray, maybe I can see Murray. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ingram come back at a lower number, but I don't think you want to. You'd rather have Latavius Murray at this point. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I think you said he's a little bit of a luxury. Maybe like bordering the line of luxury, and I get that, and I actually agree with it. But I also think he kind of he protects your superstar running back in a lot of ways too. It's like he's the battering ram, right? Just go and, you can just keep Kamara from getting all this wear and tear that he would maybe get if he had to, have more carries. So I think he's important to this team. He's one of the players I would really be, disappointed if he left, but also would understand it too. So this is a tough one, man. I've asked you about this one before. Janoris Jenkins. You make a really good point when you say that creates a super hole on the team at a position that you absolutely have. It's one of those positions where you can't hide guys, right? So, just what do you think about them doing something with that contract? And because you don't want to, and what are the options if they choose to keep him too? Can you keep him at that number, or I don't know. What do you think they do with? Or is there anything they can do with that contract other than just release him?
I mean, with just a basic, simple restructuring, avoidable years added, anything like that, just straight up, you're splitting it, pushing it forward. I think, that's $5.6 million in savings. I think if you cut him at $7 million, so is cutting him worth a $1.4 million void, and then you have to go get another cornerback to replace him, or you're rolling with what you have.
Yeah,
and is that $1.4 million difference worth it? Look, again, I'm going to go back to what I said about Murray. Anything's possible at this point. And these are the ones where you're kind of bordering on those really hard decisions. But if you cut him, I think you need to feel like you can draft somebody. You got to have a plan. And
Keith Washington is the hidden goat is the goat in hiding.
Right. So, I mean, maybe he is, but that's a huge gamble. I just don't see the value in it if you're doing all this stuff to be a good team. So if they just straight up cut him, I'll wait and see how it plays out. If they don't end up drafting a replacement, I'm going to have to say, I would disagree with that move.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good last year.
He was the best corner at one point, right? He was the most consistent, at least.
I think there's ways for them to create the space without that. That's the one guy I wouldn't get rid of. And it's the same thing I said last year when everybody said they were going to come. That didn't make sense then. It doesn't make sense.
I remember
now.
You came back and you were like, wait a minute. He's the 13th or whatever highest paid corner in the league. It was some low number. And he's like, that's a deal. Why is everyone talking about cutting him? And I said it to you and you responded. I was like, well, you're right. Yeah, why would you cut him? It doesn't make sense when you look at the numbers, and lo and behold, they kept him. So good call there. This is one of the, I'll just let you speak on it. Quan Alexander.
I mean, I think he probably gets let go.
Yeah.
You can't keep him at 13 million. So even something has to happen. The way the situation is now, it doesn't make sense. He's tore his Achilles late in the year. Is he even going to be ready to play? When's he going to be ready to play? that's the other question.
Absolutely.
There was some confusion. I think when he first got cut, I thought he had a injury guarantee, and he does, but I don't think it manifests until April. So I'm pretty sure that they can get rid of him now, free and clear.
Oh,
whereas in April, like there would have been $2 million guarantee, which I would have thought would have kept him, tied to the team in some level. Like it's just like, well, we can cut you, bring this down, stick around, $4 million, you play some playing time incentives, whatever.
yeah.
But I think they can get rid of him free and clear, and just kind of walk away from that. Which, if they're going to do that, it would be soon. And it's a $13 million. Like again, if you can negotiate him down, like, hey, stick around. If you go out there, no one's going to sign. You're hurt. You're going to miss this many games.
Exactly.
Maybe, but I just don't see. I don't know if I see it. So I'll guess yes, but definitely the 13 million cannot stay on the books.
Yeah, something's going to happen with that contract. Yeah, and it's crazy because even if he finished the season healthy, something would have happened with that contract. Whether they extended him. Yeah. So the fact that he tore his Achilles and the cap situation, like
it felt like a half-year rental at the time. Yeah, it just didn't feel like
yeah. So Anzalone, no, he's probably somewhere else. I guess.
I think he'll probably test the market and they'll find out what's out there.
Yeah. After this little interview with Ross Tucker, he sounded like he wasn't feeling wanted. Which I mean, look, wasn't playing well. They replace you, and that's how it works in the NFL. So we'll see. I tweeted about this one today, man. This is my guy. I want him back, Justin Hardy. What do you think happens with him?
I mean, I think they should keep him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should keep him. You have a new punt, like between him and Gray, like they can make a punter good. So
they made a punter good.
Yeah, and look, I thought Morstead got a little better later in the year, but yeah, I mean, they definitely kept that net where it was, and yeah, they proved it. I think you got to keep him. I would. I mean, look, I've thought he's gotten better as a corner too every year, every camp. Like you see the growth in him as a player. I think he's a good teammate. I think he sets a good example. Veteran leadership's important now in the special teams unit. Now that your main guy's gone, like he kind of feels like he fills that role. I would keep him.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's one of those guys. Like I kind of wonder how much he's going to end up costing, though. I could see him.
I think he should cost more than JT Gray, but I mean,
yeah, no question. No, I think he should be like.
No disrespect to JT Gray, but if he got two,
JT Gray is nowhere near. I won't say nowhere near, but not nowhere near. But like he's not on Hardy's level as a gunner, special teamer. Like
he's close. Like there's top tier, and then he's probably not the next tier. Like there's
who got the double team.
Yeah, there's super elite, and then he's probably right there. Like so, it's not like we're not talking about like Patrick Mahomes to Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
But Hardy, like, I mean, he could make the case that there's a case to be made that he should be paid the highest in the NFL for what he does. Like he's that good at what he does. Like he's
hitting the market at the wrong time. He's, I think that's the thing that hurts him. He's hitting the market in this year where there's not a lot of money. I think it hurts him. But look, I agree with you 100%. I think he's
one of those guys you love to. The Saints, maybe they capitalize on him in the market where it's advantageous for them. They get him to re-sign at a better number. But P-Rob, yeah, I know. That's one of the hard ones. Someone has to go, man. I'm like Latavius, no. Jenkins, no. Hardy,
they don't have to go. You can get there without cutting any of these guys.
No, that's true.
The market thing changes the math a little bit. Man, you want to keep if you can keep P-Rob. Man.
Yes. Yeah, man. It's one of those ones I don't know how. What's his cap hit? Do you know off the top of it? I
think it was 2.5. So he's someone if it got that close, man.
For a backup corner, in a position that you're gonna need to use that guy, it just feels like. Yeah, I don't know if they can. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think they should keep him. I hope they keep him. Jameis Winston.
I'll say I think he's going to be here. It seems like they want him here. Can you hear me?
There you go. Yeah, you went mute for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be on the team. I think they want him here. It's just going to be a matter of, figuring out what that cost is. P-Rob's cap hit is 3.8. You would 3.8. You would save 2.6 by cutting them. So, maybe you negotiate that down a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, Jameis, it's going to be interesting. I think him staying is going to depend on how much interest he garners around the league. I think, I think it's a hard negotiation. I think his value of himself is probably different than what theirs is. So he's just got to find out what's out there, and bring it back. But I mean, look, I would say this for him too. I think the threat of him leaving is something that presses on the Saints, but the threat of the Saints signing someone else is something that should press on him as well. And I think there should be urgency on both sides. As much as they like him, I think there's probably a point where they say, okay, we got to do something. So we're going to sign somebody, and they do it. And we've seen it happen. Like, mentioned this, I think maybe on the last spot. Yeah,
that's a good point. Mark Ingram
happened to Mark Ingram, happened to Devon Bell last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think that they're operating as if he has to be the guy. Like, I don't think that's the way they do business even. And as much as I like him, like I said, I think that there's other guys that they would look. They'll go forward with them. Their cap's going to determine what they can do. I think a good way to fit a quarterback under the cap would be to, incentivize it with unlikely to be earned incentives, which if they got earned would count next year, not this year. So, I mean, there's going to be things that they're going to have to do to try to manipulate that situation. If it's not a top tier guy, if it ends up being a top tier guy, Wilson, someone else, Watson, I don't get the sense, talking to people, I don't get the sense that those are super likely trades that are gonna happen for anybody. I'm not talking Saints specific. It's just, and again, it's
a hard deal to do, man.
Right. It's hard for Seattle to say we're actually going to trade this guy. Takes one call though. That's all. The one call, you get a crack. You never know, but I would guess no. I would guess no. Yeah.
And their cap situation isn't great, and they would eat like a ton of cap if they like traded him. So yeah, it's just one of those trades that do seem unlikely. It was fun debating it though. All right, last guy, probably maybe this first or second toughest guy on this list, Emmanuel Sanders. Him and Jack Rabbit were the ones that were like, man, that seems like those are tough ones.
Total toss up.
Yeah. I'm a little conflicted on that one because, I feel like the year where before him, like it was Mike or break, a Mike or bust, basically. If Mike wasn't playing well, then it was like game over. And now you just saw like Mike have a little bit of mortality, right? And so you get rid of your number two. You're going to be able to play with more field. Can Deontay Harris fill in some of those gaps? Do Traquan Smith step up? Is he a better player with a quarterback with a bigger arm? Does Adam Troutman give you more this year? Yeah, it's one of those difficult ones. So, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm calling that one a toss up. Yeah, I don't really see anything other than maybe 50-50, but it would be good to keep him. So.
Got a question here. How much does Winston cost? $10 million over 2 years. I am not answering that on here. You can sign up for my website. I'm going to write this article this week. NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Save $10 on an annual plan with the code QBWho. But yeah, that's the plug for today. We will break that down. I have some opinions and thoughts on that, but yep, that is not going to be answered today. And if you don't like it, we gotta pay the bills. We gotta pay the bills. People complain every time I do this. I get a DM. The podcast is advertising for the website. This is
when you put it on the screen, I was like, is he really about to? Is he about to do it? I'm about to end the pod like in stream.
On your question about Sanders, though, I mean, I do think that, and again, no disrespect to Breeze here. Like, I do think that a different quarterback unlocks some things in some of the guys beyond Mike and Sanders, in that they'll be able to do a little bit more, play to some of their strengths, attack offenses a little bit differently. I think we talked about this before. I think, Traquan, he's more downfield. He can do a lot of downfield stuff. I think that'll help.
Yeah.
You got Callaway up on the screen. He's someone else that has some downfield ability that he showed in college. Deontay Harris. Yeah. Sanders is someone that I think if they can keep him, you do want to keep him. I thought he had a really, there were circumstances, slow start. He got COVID. I think he was really good last year, though. He put up pretty solid numbers given the circumstances.
I agree.
I think he would be even better in year 2.
Yeah. He had some downfield ability that I kind of feel like he wasn't able to tap into in this offense too. So I think he can. I mean, he's not Will Fuller or Deshaun Jackson, but he is like a guy that can get on top of the defense with like route savvy and things like that. So yeah, he's someone that I feel like Winston would. If Winston is a quarterback, he's someone that could benefit. And Winston's need. I think he's going to need guys that can like get open. Like Mike is one of those guys, obviously, and having Sanders is another guy who can like create separation. I don't know. I think it'll be needed. So, guys, guess what? I got something special to tell you guys. There's a website. It's called NewOrleans.Football. If you type it in and you type in /subscribe, they're going to give you these great options. I promise you, they're amazing. If you pick one, your life will be better. You'll be the most informed person in your football circle as it pertains to the New Orleans Saints. Joseph D'Antoni said we need to pay Nick's mortgage. We don't need Nick on the streets, man. Especially Shireen. That won't work out too well. She's a spoiled little dog. Not so little. But yeah, guys, go there, pick out a tier, pick the one that works best for you. There's he did a Q&A. It must have been like 3 days ago. I felt like
you didn't even bring Trey up in the in the things.
You know what?
You just got him out of here?
I actually forgot about him. That's messed up. That's messed up. I'm sorry, Trey. I'm sorry. I guess I assumed I didn't forget. I just assumed that he's gone, which that's probably wrong because he's not gone. He's not gone yet. Good point. What do you think? Talk about Trey. Then I'll do my little in-pod thing.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be back. I don't. Someone has to go, and that's kind of where my guess is going. Look, they built a team though where they're now getting comp picks and things of that nature. Like that's
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't. They won games, but the program I think is probably a little bit stronger in some areas right now. Than it was in the past, and you have expendable pieces that are going to bring back picks. So
good point.
Yeah,
GMs and players and all, and quarterbacks and defensive ends and everybody. So I mean, they got like you said, Teddy one. They got 2 coming from Fontenot. They're probably going to get one for Trey, and I mean that's 4 third-round picks. Third-round pick. They got Kamara, Enzalone. However you feel about that. They got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the 4th. They got Trey Henderson in the 3rd. Traquan Smith in the 3rd. However you feel about that. He's still on the team. So those are valuable picks, and those are starters, right? That they're, those are guys who play, right? And I think all their 3rd-round picks recently have pretty much been, contributors in some shape, form, or fashion of the roster. So they got 4 of those guys in the next 2 years. So that's a big deal. So, yeah, good point you made there. All right. Well, guys, this is really the end of the pod now. Last time we went over an hour. This time we're going just a little bit under. So thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys in advance for going to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe and picking the tier that works best for you. Catching up with all the latest and greatest Saints content. Make sure you guys tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to youtube.com, type in Nick Underhill. This show will come up. Like and subscribe. That helps us a lot. Click the notification bell if you're looking to be a superstar. So you guys stay safe. There's going to be quite a bit of Saints news coming in the days and maybe week or so. So make sure you guys follow Nick on Twitter at Nick_Underhill. Everything goes there. All the articles that he posts on the site goes there. He did a Q&A with felt like 80 questions this past, I don't want to say it was 2 or 3 days ago. That was really good. You guys should go back and read it if you're a member of the site, if you're going to sign up. And the article on the site about the salary cap, more in depth than what we just spoke about. So go check that out. And got a Big Fish article that I've been waiting for since for a while. So all the Big Fish fans, go out there and check it out, man, because he is the only tight end on the roster that really matters right now. So he really needs to be good. And so, yeah, make sure you guys check that out. So with that said, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. We out.